Alright, so welcome back to the channel, and today I am making my first video based on real-life F1 for the upcoming 2025 season. I'll still be doing F1 24 stuff, but I thought let's mix it up a bit and add in some real-life F1 as well. Now, as I was scrolling through Twitter yesterday, I was looking for updates on testing because I only managed to watch the first 28 minutes before I wanted to, like, run into a brick wall out of boredom. It's so tiring. So I was just going through Twitter and I found an image that was really interesting. It had all 20 of the drivers' helmets for this season. I will leave a link to that tweet in the description because I've basically just nicked this person's image. So I feel like that I can't just nick it without, saying where it came from. And what I did is I put all of these, helmets into Photoshop, made them their own separate images, and now I've made a tier list with all of these helmets, and we're going to rank them from S tier to D tier. Nice. Everyone knows how tier lists work, let's be honest. Now, a little fun fact about me is that I have been a graphic designer since 2019, so going upwards for 6 years now. And usually what happens when you are in the field that I am is that I'll sit here, I'll make a tier list, and then I'll come back in an hour and I'll want to completely change it because I'll like and dislike certain things that I didn't spot before. So I'm just going to do this purely based off my first impression. I'm going to look at it for 5 seconds and go, yep, that's going up there. So, let us begin with Alexander Albon. I feel like that is extremely basic. I feel like that's a helmet that's, that's like Codemasters would design and put it in F1 24 Season Pass. I still like it though. But I believe that is going to be sort of mid-table for me. I don't think there's anything quite, too swazzy going on about that. Next up is the GOAT, Fernando Alonso, turning, 49,000 this year? It feels like he should have retired about 10 years ago. He is truly proving that age just does not matter. And he's still probably top 5 drivers on the grid. And his helmet is almost the same. It is, of course, a sort of not memorabilia, that's not the right word, but it's sort of a flashback to his earlier years in sort of the mid-2000s. Of course, when he won the championship in 2006, the year I was born, he sort of got a similar helmet to that, and I really like this. I don't think it's quite enough for the S tier, but it's definitely enough for the A tier. Just for looking at it for a few seconds, I like it. Now we have actually got a little spree coming up of 4 rookies in a row. Technically 4. I don't really classify Ollie Behrman as a rookie anymore because he's done 3 Grand Prix. Neither do I think Lawson's a rookie. But for the sake of purpose of this, we'll say he's a rookie. First up, though, we have Kimi Antonelli. Honestly, I don't really know anything about this geezer. He sort of just turned up. I don't really follow too much of Feeder series, so yeah, he quite literally just pulled up and signed. I have no idea who he is, but once I learned that he is actually younger than me, I was just overflowed with depression because you're telling me there is a Formula 1 driver younger than me. I still can't wrap my head around it. However, his helmet is incredibly nice. In fact, I like it so much, I'm putting that in S tier. It's one of those, I can't really describe what I like about it, I just look at it and go, yeah, that's quality. So there he is, our first S tier, Kimi Antonelli, and then we move straight into our second rookie, who isn't really a rookie, but he is a rookie, Ollie Behrman. Now, his helmet, to me, is very standard. I don't know why, but I'm getting, it's playing wide because of the size, but I'm getting a lot of Lando Norris vibes because obviously that, bright yellow and black. I think this is kind of mid, but I don't think it's that bad, so I'm going to put it in B tier alongside Albon. Now, for our third rookie in a row, we have Gabriel Bortoleto, and yeah, instantly top of S tier. I mean, it's not the most, I can't really say, I was going to say it's not the most creative idea based off Ayrton Senna, but it is a little bit. And he's also put his own little spin on it as well. Of course, he is one of the only Brazilian drivers to race in F1 since Ayrton Senna. I'm trying to think of who's raced in between. I can only really think of Felipe Massa. Although, was Felipe Nasser, was he Brazilian? I don't know. My wheel knowledge doesn't really go, further beyond like 2013. I mean, I only started watching F1 in 2021 like most people, except I didn't start watching because of, you know, that season or Drive to Survive. I turned on Sky Sports one day, it was on, and I was thinking, you know what, I've got nothing else to watch, let's just butt it on. Bang, hooked, and here we are. I love that helmet though, I really do love that. And finally, the 4th rookie in a row is Jack Doohan, already most likely gonna get sacked. For those that don't know, it is sort of rumoured that he is only on a 4 to 6 race contract, or in other words, if he does shit after those first 4 or 6 races, he can just get that contract terminated by Alpine, and they are still, you know, having strong feelings over Franco Colapinto. I think he is getting way too much hype. I think he's a fantastic driver, and he done incredibly well for his first couple of races. Then it sort of fell to pieces a bit. But I feel like this sort of, you know, if you wanted him that bad, why did you sign Jack Doohan? Anyway, we're not here to talk about contracts and drivers. We're here to talk about their helmets, their hats, you know? I like Jack Doohan's helmet. I'm going to put that in A tier. I sort of like the shine. I'm sure that's going to be a thing with all the helmets, but I don't know, that sort of shine, and the red, and the blue, and the sort of, what can I even describe that as? Like, the scratch marks? The paint? I don't, you know what I mean? The blue bits look cool, that's all I'm trying to say. Next up, we have Alpine's second driver, Pierre Gasly. And honestly, that helmet, that is striking. You know, that is very different from most of his helmets, I think, and I love it. In fact, I like it so much, I'm going to put it in S tier. I know that might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't know. I just really like the mix of white and blue. It's not too complex of colours, but there's all nice little patterns over it. You know, I feel like that's also very recognisable. You know, in general, you can see that helmet and go, yeah, that's Gazza. We're not going to mistake that for someone else, like George Russell, maybe. Next up, we have another, not copy, but similarity to an old Lando Norris helmet. We have Isaac Hadjar, the 5th rookie on this list, out of 6. Can't believe there's 6. That is outrageous, especially when you consider the fact that last season there was no driver change. We go into this year, I think every team apart from 2 have changed their drivers, and there are 6 rookies. Unbelievable. However, his helmet, I quite like it. I feel like it hovers in the balance between A tier and B tier. I think for now I'm going to put it in A tier, but I might change my mind later. Next up, we have the most hyped driver team coordination, cooperation, working, whatever you want to say, probably in Formula 1 history, to be honest. It's, of course, Hamilton's first Ferrari helmet, and it's just all yellow with a little bit of red on it. And that's all you need, because it's going in S tier. You know, that is unique. It's very basic, and I feel like all of his helmets, I don't know if it's like every year, but it does seem like Hamilton's helmets every season are yellow, which I think is also a nod to Ayrton Senna. Of course, Hamilton's biggest idol is Ayrton Senna. His helmet was yellow, so Hamilton's helmet's yellow. I don't know, but I really like it, to be honest. And speaking of helmets there's an absolute flurry of helmets I like here. This tier list is going to be very top-heavy, I feel like. First up, Nico Hülkenberg, instantly an S tier. There is something about that helmet that, just like, who was it? Just like Albon's, it looks like something out of F1 24. But I don't care, because that is quality. That nice green stripe, the sort of, you know, grey patronage going on the sides. Oh, that is a gorgeous helmet. Well done, whoever designed that. That is quality. And again, 3 in a row? Surely not. Liam Lawson. I think that's also an S tier helmet. I love a bit of pink, you know, I really do. My favourite colour in the entire world is orange. In fact, in my graphic designing career, pretty much every graphic design I've ever made has some form of orange in it, but I do love a bit of pink as well. And that is a quality helmet. As much as I dislike Liam Lawson for taking Sergio Perez's position in F1, for those that don't know, Sergio Perez was my favourite driver and the only driver on that entire grid I, like, liked, if you will. And, you know, it's not Liam Lawson's problem, but they did sack him for Liam Lawson, so I do hope that he does shit. But he's got a great helmet, and I'll give him that. Now we have Mr. Charles Leclerc, Charles Leclerc, whatever you want to call him. I am stupid. I think this is a very good helmet. I don't think it's quite good enough for S, but I do like the sort of split. You know, the top is all red, the bottom is white, and it looks like the Monaco flag, which is probably what it's meant to mean. That would make sense. But that is just a very clean, very simple, but a lovely helmet for Charlie. Nice. Now we have Lando Norris. Now this is going to be quite interesting because there are two helmets on here that have Lando's sort of colours of the bright yellow and green. One of them is in B tier, one of them is in A tier. Lando Norris, this is going to be a crazy thing to some. I think it's awful. I really dislike all of the patterns all over it and that weird, unrecognisable text on the front. There is something about that. I don't like it. And I really don't like it. Honestly, I feel like if his helmet just had that massive writing and the rest of it was just plain, like, bright green, it'd be an A tier helmet. But it's just because of all that black patternage everywhere. It looks like fingerprints. It's just, no, that's smelly. Next up, we have one of Haas's new drivers, alongside Ollie Behrman. How they've gone from Hulkenberg and Magnussen to Ocon and Behrman is unbelievable, really. I think that's a massive downgrade, but to be honest, I hope I'm proven wrong, because I don't mind Ollie Behrman, and I don't mind Esteban Ocon. I just think Hulkenberg and Magnussen are just better because they're way more experienced, and Hulkenberg, I think, is one of the best drivers on the grid, despite being in his mid-30s. Back to helmets, though. This looks like his... You know, back in, like, Spa last year, Alpine did that, like, Deadpool thing. They had, like, one red car and one yellow car, I think? Or is that just complete bollocks? It might be, but they did something with Deadpool because of that new Deadpool film that I watched and was just complete shit. And this helmet is sort of... It looks like that because it's just red and black. Obviously, red and black is Haas's sort of main colours in, like, the logo and branding. Of course, their car is white. But back in the day, like 2016 and 2019, they had a lot of black going on as well. I really like this helmet. I don't think it's quite enough for A tier, but I think it's the top of B tier. Honestly, I don't really know what could be done to improve it, but like I said, this video is just me looking at it, gazing at it for 5 seconds and going, yeah, that's mid, that's good, that's brilliant, and that's basically it. Moving on to Oscar Piastri, of course, the other McLaren driver, one of only 2 teams, I believe, to not switch their drivers around alongside Aston Martin. I think this is a B tier helmet, because it's exactly the same. You know, I do take that into consideration, alongside, you know, drivers like Behrman and, you know, Alonso, kind of. I mean, Alonso's an exception because that helmet is just so nice. But, you know, drivers like Behrman and Albon and Piastri, and even Norris as well, mainly Norris, they don't change their helmets from year to year, and there is actually 2 more drivers, maybe actually 3 more drivers in this list I haven't gone through yet, that have that exact same problem. And one of them's coming right up, George Russell. This helmet for me is a B tier. I do love that shade of blue. It looks like Ultra Blue from GTA 5, and I used to put that on every car I owned, although my most expensive car was like a Volkswagen Beetle. But anyway, I do like it, but I feel like it needs like something at the top. It needs like a bit of patternage or like shaping going on at the top, and that might elevate it into the A tier. But I think this does go... I think it goes to the top of B. It's one of those situations where if there was a thing in between A and B, it'd go there. It's quite not enough for A, but it's a bit too good to be in B. But yeah. Anyway, George Russell, top of B tier. Might change my mind later, you know. Now we have one of Williams' new drivers, Carlos Sainz. And honestly, this might come as a shock to some. I think this is awful. I know, like, he's got, like, I know that's obviously for, like, the Spanish flag with his number on, and then obviously the dark blue for Williams, but it just looks wrong. I feel like you can't have bright red and orange and then a dark blue. It looks completely wrong. It looks like the ocean's on fire, and I don't like that at all, because I like the ocean, I like fish, you know? So that's just, no. It just looks wrong. and for me it's a C tier. Now we have another driver that just never changes their helmet. It's Lance Stroll, and this is going into D tier. And I'm quite glad we have at least one in D tier, so there's one in every tier. It's just... Also, hang on, before I talk about why is his visor so massive? That starts from, like, here to here. Like, why is it so big? But anyway, the reason I dislike this helmet is, well, because number one, he doesn't change it for, like, ever. And two, there's nothing on it. It looks like it was provided to him by the team, because it's just Aston Martin's primary colour of, like, a dark, sort of, like, bluey green kind of weird colour. And it just looks shit. It's just a glossy Aston Martin helmet, not a Lance Stroll helmet. And for that reason, and the fact it doesn't change it ever, it's going to be our only D tier helmet, because the last two, they're not D tier. First up, we have Yuki Tsunoda. I think this is a top of A tier helmet. I know there's a bit of like a Japanesey vibe going on because it's plain white. You've got a bit of red going on from the Red Bull logo. You've got like some autumn leaves falling around. It's really nice. I really like it. It's very clean, very plain, very simple, but that is sometimes the best. We have seen that with the likes of Hamilton and Leclerc. It's very simple, but it's brilliant, and I really like it. And the final helmet we have is the back-to-back world champion, who I'm predicting won't even get top 3 in the drivers this year, is Max Verstappen. And although it's a little bit different, it is still the same sort of helmet as, you know, his previous ones. I think this is an A tier helmet, but at the very back of A tier. And that completes the tier list. I'm actually very, very happy with that. However, I might make some adjustments before I end this video, and I feel like some of these I might change my mind back on, but there are some I have to change my mind on. Number one, I'm going to move Hamilton's helmet down to A tier. I told you, I said it in the earlier video, as a graphic designer, I'm constantly spotting different details I didn't see before, and because of them, I'm just not liking stuff as much as I did. With Hamilton, I don't like that shade of yellow. I feel like it has to be way brighter. It looks a bit like, I don't know, it looks a bit too dark. And I'm also going to be moving George Russell's helmet up into the A tiers. And I think that is the only changes that I'm going to make. Yeah, honestly, that looks pretty good. I think for the thumbnail, I might move a couple of them about so it's a bit more even. But that is going to be my completed tier list for the 2025 F1 drivers' helmets. Let me know what you'd change. Let me know if I'm a complete div and most of these are completely wrong. And, well, that's going to be all from me. I'll be back very soon. I might do a tier list on the car liveries. Why not at this point? And I'll also be live on the 14th of March for the opening weekend of the F1 season. I will be watching and streaming every single session of F1 and F2. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. All the good stuff. And I'll see you a lot later. Peace!